If you're coming in right off the bat from the last video, don't worry, I really enjoy this film. It is such an amazing gem of a film that it's hard for me not to. Then again, I'm kind of biased because this was one of my favorite kids' movies when I was growing up. It's actually my first Tom Hanks and Tim Allen movie, show, piece of media that I've seen them in. I've loved this movie from an extremely young age. This movie is older than I am, but dear God, I hold it very near and dear to my heart. Before I get into everything that this movie is, or my thoughts and very favorable opinions on this movie that is, let's hit those box office stats and a quick recap of the film. With a budget of $30 million, Toy Story generated an overall domestic revenue of $191,796,233 at the box office. While this iconic animated duo took first place overall, they were beat out in monthly revenue by Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. At $88,128,568, Ace Ventura doubled Toy Story's November earnings of $44,509,964. That's alright guys, we still love you regardless. In case you've somehow missed this movie or didn't grow up on Disney, Toy Story is about the toys of a young kid named Andy. Woody, the longtime favorite toy and the sheriff in charge of Andy's room, finally meets a toy that can rival his place, Buzz Lightyear, who doesn't realize that he too is a toy. The two eventually find themselves lost in the outside world, where they must put aside their differences and join forces to make it back home before Andy and his family moves and they're lost for good. Now on to the video.
You are a toy!
This movie had 29 wins and 24 nominations in total, 3 of those nominations being Oscars, and I think the person truly that got the most of these awards was Randy Newman, the composer, for the songs in this film. And oh my God, he deserves it. You've Got a Friend in Me. I know some people are kind of like, it's been played a gazillion times after the fact. I don't care. I care very much. I love it so much. I Will Go Sailing No More, Strange Things. I love it. They give such an awesome, wholesome vibe to this film, and they really make me feel like I'm a kid again. And honestly, I think that going back and watching this again for the gazillionth time is the thing that still makes me love this movie so much, is that it really is back in such a simpler time, and that's gonna make me sound ancient and I don't care, but the era before smartphones, I'm sitting here watching Andy play and roughhouse with this toy and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're gonna beat this toy up. It's not gonna be around for much longer, but that's just how kids played back then. We weren't screens in the face 24/7. We were actually out like playing with our Barbies and dinosaurs and whatever. But it made me so happy and it made me giggle. It was so nice. It really did take me back to my childhood and just everything that it used to be. Even Sid, the gremlin kid that lives next door. Oh my God. Like, first of all, I don't know how he kept getting away with ordering explosives. I can totally see why Andy's mom was like, we gotta move. We gotta move now. That thought never crossed my mind as a kid, like, oh, they're just moving. And now as a grown-ass adult, I'm like, oh, hell nah. I don't know how long they've been living next to this nightmare of a kid, but no, you could not pay me enough to live next to him when you've got explosives going off outside Andy and Molly's room. This was also in the era of we're still figuring out how to do 3D animation. So there were a couple of frames in here with the people that were also very oof, especially with Molly. She looked like she could have been a doll every time she was still, but as soon as she tried to emote or anything like a toddler would, it was like, oh gosh, cringe, no. And of course, they could get away with it a little bit more with the toys because they could have these hyper cartoony expressions because they're toys. But the scene where Woody is laughing at Buzz on the bed and he's like pointing and like laughing kind of gremlin-like at him, oh gosh. He definitely did bring in the ventriloquist dummy expression. Very creepy and a little bit unnerving, even if it was for a split second. But yeah, I know they scrapped altogether the design for Woody to be a ventriloquist dummy, but that one I'm like, yeah, they didn't pull it out of that scene. Which yeah, in case you didn't know, Woody was supposed to be a ventriloquist dummy. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here for half the viewers that are gonna come in because it's like, oh my gosh, Disney, someone's talking about it. But if you didn't know, I'm very happy that they did not go with the ventriloquist look. That would have had the potential to be just very creepy across the board. And then on top of Woody having been potentially a ventriloquist dummy, we also had Buzz Lightyear with his original concept being a wind-up toy, Tinny. It was supposed to be kind of this quest with Tinny and the ventriloquist dummy on like a series of like mini events, kind of like a road trip feel, if you will. But it got turned into a buddy comedy, which honestly, I really can't imagine this movie being anything else. And hearing all of the things that they had to change for it was insane. Like the ventriloquist dummy and the wind-up toy being our two main characters versus like the sheriff we know and our lovable airheaded space ranger. Road trip movies are either hit or miss for me, so I'm kind of happy that they went with a buddy comedy for this animated kids film. Another big thing was that I cannot imagine Buzz being voiced by Billy Crystal, as was what they originally wanted. Tim Allen is great and really nails it and brings it home for me. And I think Billy Crystal is absolutely perfect as Mike Wazowski. And yeah, leave those as they are. I like what ended up happening there. And then the big one for me is Woody's character as a whole. He admittedly, at the beginning of this film, and I hate to say this because I love Woody so much, he's admittedly a little bit of an ass. Like, I totally get it. He's used to being at the top of the food chain, being the head of the pack, making sure everyone's kind of in order, just very secure in his position. So when Buzz Lightyear comes in and dethrones him, essentially, he doesn't really know what to do with that and lashes out. Kind of like what a kid would do in some scenarios, you know? You're in grade school, friend groups are shifting, and as people make new friends, you're kind of like, oh, well, we used to be best friends, what's going on? And some arguments could ensue. You know, you can absolutely see a kid doing that, so kids would be able to relate a little bit, but also learning how to make friends with people that maybe you don't have everything in common with, just meeting new people, really. Very important message for kids, and they did a very good job of taking him from just kind of being a little bit of an asshole, and then having this whole character arc and coming around and being an actual person, toy person, you know what I'm getting at. It was done really well. You like him genuinely at the end of it. You do like him at the beginning still, but he's a lot less jaded and bitter and is more accepting and willing to work with others by the end of it, and that's fucking awesome. But him just being a complete and total ass at the beginning, like, I remember a while ago listening to actual voice lines recorded by Tom Hanks where he's verbally berating Slinky. I'm like, no, this is horrible. I didn't even get through the entire clip, but it's essentially Slinky saying, oh yeah, buddy, I was thinking of whatever, and Woody cuts him off and he's like, whoa, wait a second, you can think, you have a brain up there? And I'm like, no, Woody, no, I love you too much for this. So I'm very, very happy that he went from this absolute tyrant of a toy to people still like him. He's kind of the gruff guy in charge, jaded, bitter, happy where he's at, and then having his, we're going to become a human being, a fully likable toy by the end of it. I really liked his growth. Really, really liked it. And then Buzz Lightyear, I see no wrong. He's so phenomenal, and he's just, you feel for him because he does so vehemently believe that he is actual Buzz Lightyear, and poor guy did not deserve being hit that hard. Whenever he sees the commercial proving that he's a toy, like, yeah, he's very self-confident and he does butt heads with Woody, but he's just kind of the super nice guy to a lot of the toys, at least what we see in the montage at the beginning where Woody's getting dethroned. And so he's kind of painted in this little bit of an antagonistic light because you're seeing this from Woody's perspective, but he's just kind of being a bro. So it hurt whenever he walks in, sees the commercial, and then tries to fly and then can't. His crash out was absolutely valid. I am Mrs. Nesbitt. Oh my God. His entire world just got destroyed. Oh, I felt so bad for him, but honestly, it was also great to see him move on, to pick up the pieces and create something new and move forward. Like, just because stuff gets bad, we can still move on. Just to see both of them progress, Woody and Buzz. Woody, admittedly, a lot longer than Buzz. Buzz, it takes like a scene or two to come around. Woody, a good 3/4 of the film before it's like, all right, he's gotten the memo. He's becoming a bro as well. Let's do this. A couple of the other things that I didn't realize until I started going over facts and trivia for this film. There were actually a couple of characters that were thrown out from the original draft as well. This thing went through like a gazillion different revisions. Like, it didn't really get on track until they brought in Joss Whedon to get things under control, and he's always done a phenomenal job with large ensemble casts. He brought in the concept of Buzz believing he wasn't a toy as like a huge thread. He brought in Rex the dinosaur. He also brought in the concept of having Barbie in this one, but they didn't get the rights, so they brought in Bo Peep to replace her, to have her as the love interest for Woody. But the huge characters that were thrown out that led to like Toy Story 2 and 3 were Al McWiggin, the collector guy. He was supposed to be one of the, I guess, pit stops in the road trip that originally was, but that got turned into Toy Story 2. And then an older teddy bear who tells them to appreciate the time they have because kids won't always be kids and they'll grow up and move on from toys, i.e. Lotso and 3. But the concepts for the two were supposed to be in one of the original drafts for Toy Story 1. So it's neat to see whenever they don't toss out everything and just they actually bring it back to create successful sequels. Even if 3 does make me cry my eyes out, but we're not talking about 3, we're talking about 1. Ugh, this film was just so good. This is definitely a kid's movie plot, but it's also presented in a way that adults will enjoy as well. Like, I feel nowadays every kid's movie is definitely made for the kid and the kid alone. But back in earlier Disney, at least, there were a lot more elements where adults taking their kids to see these movies would also enjoy as well. Like, oh my gosh, all of the dad jokes at the beginning of the film where Woody's like, hey, sketch, draw. And then he draws out the gun, but all these kids are saying like, oh, it's like a cowboy standoff. Or Bo Peep being like, if you need me, I'm only a few blocks away. And there's just, it's building blocks. But you don't catch that as a kid, right? I love that it was such a kid drama thing, but they behaved like legit people, not like kid level bullshit. It's digestible for adults as well. I really, really, really appreciated that. My Toy Story fans, leave your thoughts in the comments below and tell me which of the Toy Story films is your favorite. I stopped at Toy Story 3. I have a couple more movies to catch up on. So if they're worth watching, let me know so I can go watch them. If not, I will stick with the ones that I have watched. Until then, I will see you guys next time in 2005.